Hello, today we're going to do a demo of the new Allego software, which is used to control the SmartBox Pro. When you open, this is the default window. It's got three panels, one which is our dashboard, one which is a monitor screen, and one which is an electrode screen. It defaults to this view so that if you wanted to just plug in the system and start recording, you could hit stream and then record here. Your neural signal or the signal through your head stages will show up in this window. And this can coordinate with your probe model in the electrodes window for our probe-centric approach. This is something that you can do right out of the box. However, for this demo, I'm actually going to step through the workflow as I would do it, and that starts through the dashboard. Let's start by opening up a system panel. You can create a new system tab, and you see now instead of 3, we've got 4 panels here. Because I want to concentrate on the control, I will maximize here. Again, this is a type of control panel type view. The top deals with identifying or naming the signals that we're looking at, and also initializing the SmartBox. You can scan the ports. These are all functions to make sure that your SmartBox is plugged in correctly, that the head stages are inserted correctly. If so, you should see under the ports that are plugged in, channels available down here. So for our experiment, we've got 2 head stages plugged in ports A and B. Each are 64 channel head stages. All 64 default to being selected. We could come through and deselect all, say, of port A if we only wanted to record on port B, or vice versa, or select some subset of channels. However, for this demo, we're going to leave them all selected. There's no head stage in port C or D, so we've got 0 available channels there. And then we also have supplementary data through our 2 analog inputs, 2 digital inputs, and 2 digital outputs that are all active and part of these recordings. And then at the bottom of the screen, this talks about when you actually record the file. This controls the location. This is the default location, but if you wanted to record somewhere else, you could click on here, a File Explorer window will pop up, and you can change that location. And then down below, if you wanted to change things associated with the name or control the number of signals, things of that nature, you can change those things here. Once you have your recording, your system set up to record the way that you would like, you could just minimize this tab back into these kind of 4-panel view. However, because we're done with the control panel for now, I want to go ahead and close this one out. Next up in the process is this Electrodes tab. I could start a new electrode window if I wanted, but since we already have one open, I'll come over here and choose the probe. The head stage right now is set up for this pass-through 64. And then if you click on it, you can see all of the various different head stages that are available to choose from. Let's say that we are recording from a SmartLink H64 LP head stage. Let's find the probe. Let's say that we're using this probe design. It's an 8x8. And so the model of the probe is down here. This will be important because each of these sites are selectable and they're pre-mapped. And they will coordinate with the units, the signals that will show up in this panel. However, for right now, because we haven't started recording yet, let's go ahead through, make sure that port B is also set up. Let's say in this one, we have this a 2x32 probe. All right. We've got our probe design. We're good to go here. Now, let's move through in the next step in the process. On here, there's a signal processing tab. We can create that signal processing tab and once again, maximize it so that we can see it. This is where you could create software filters if you wanted to, like low pass, high pass, band stop, or notch filter. You could say, okay, on port A, I want to notch filter at 60 Hertz. Let's make it a notch filter. And then add filter to the filter group. And let's say for port B, I want a band pass filter. Say I'm only doing single units, so I don't need low frequency information. I want to set the low end at 500 Hertz. And, let's go as high as 10 kilohertz. And now on my display, these are both software filters. So this is important. These will display the data. On port A, will have this 60 Hertz notch filter. On port B, it'll have this bandpass filter. However, what's actually recording is the whole unfiltered data set. You would have to choose a hardware filter to affect what's being recorded. Once this signal processing is set up to your satisfaction, again, you could just minimize it and leave the 4 panels open. I'm going to close it because these are my panels of interest. I've already got a monitor tab open, so we'll come back to this. Let's say before we start recording, let's open this impedance tab. We can use this to check the health of our probe to make sure that all of the sites are correct. So on port A, we click run our impedance check. It'll take a moment and it gives us on each of the channels in the probe, it tells us the magnitude of the impedance in mega ohms, as well as the phase. And as we scroll down, these impedances all fall within a range we would consider good. So we can feel good about the probe in port A. We come to port B, do the same thing. Again, the magnitudes look good. We scroll down and we know that our probes are healthy. They're ready to record. Same trick, you could either minimize, but in this case, I'm going to close. And now I am ready to record. I've set up I've controlled the experimental parameters. I've got the software and our probe set up the way I like. The probes are healthy through my impedance check. Now I'm ready to start streaming. So as I stream, as you see, these are our neural channels. There are 5 on the screen. But as we scroll through, we can identify, okay, hey, this one looks like it's got some neural activity on it. Maybe this one too. This one too. Several of these have potentially interesting neural data on here. So this will make me happy. So suppose I see here, this is identified as probe site 12, which is number 61. Now I want to say which of these sites coordinates with this data. So as you see, as you hover over each site, it gives you a similar map, right? So probe 1261 is right here. So if I would like to say highlight and keep that channel as one of interest, we'll come up to our tools up here, click the order tab. Now I'm going to click and hold and highlight this site, and voila, you see it turns red. If we come back over to our monitor, now this one is at the top. This is what we mean by our probe-centric approach. When doing these recordings, you can identify a signal of interest, or you can control your map over here by highlighting different groups of channels. And in doing so, while you're recording, you always know exactly which units you're recording and where that location is on the probe that you're recording from. That can be a very valuable tool and one that will let you maximize and get the most out of your experiments. Let's clear out. So I click on this negative tab and I can clear out any highlighted channel, come back to our default. So now we're in our defaults. Now maybe instead of picking a site that is of interest, maybe I want to create a pattern of recordings. So if I come back to my add option, let's say I want to highlight across, get all of those channels. And then I do the same on the next one. So now I've got these purple ones across, they're at the top, and then these yellow ones are the next ones down. I could do this for each row and set up my recordings this way. Then I would know that as I scroll down through these recordings, each color will represent this group all the way across. If I wanted to say record from a certain level, I could also have done the opposite and say, put each one of these shanks into their own color group as another method of sorting. There are all types of options of ways that you could do this. You could control your recordings and get the best out of them. Let's say I like this one. I've set up my stream. I'm satisfied. Want to start recording. So now it's recording. Remember from the control panel, it's recording to a default data file location. And this tab lets us know that it's recording. And this keeps a running tab of the time as we're streaming. So if we want to know exactly where we are with respect to where we started, we can keep track there. And now you're ready to play. You're ready to record. You're ready to see your data, and you're ready to see what you can do with it. So let's say we've recorded for long enough. We stop there, and we come down, and let's say we see a pattern in here, something that we like. So I'm going to take a snapshot. You can create a snapshot tab. And this is a snapshot of what was going on at the time that I clicked. It's across every channel. Right now, this is the time range. It's a default range. This is the options for how long the recordings have been. So I took this snapshot, and I can scroll through here, see if you know, maybe when this spike is going on this channel, if there's something analogous on a different channel. And this is just another tool that you can play with. But you notice that while we're over here, this is continuing to stream. If we were still recording while we were over here, it would be continuing to record. So, and of course, like before, we could maximize our window so that we can really pay attention to what's going on. You know, change our durations. We can change our start times. You know, we have all types of options of things we can do. And of course, we can always come back to our default and keep going. Another thing, I don't really have to leave this dashboard open. I left it open as kind of a habit because I like to be able to access these different tools. But once you've got things set up the way you like, you can close your dashboard and spend more time maybe I'll bring this over here and spend more of my space real estate looking at our neural signal. One of the benefits and the points of this Allego software is there's lots of flexibility. You can make this system look like you want it to look, and you can use it in a variety of different ways to get the results that best suit your situation. I'm going to stop streaming here. If at any point, now that I've closed the dashboard tab, if I wanted to get it back, I could come over. The tabs are still available over here. And yep, we have now stepped through how you would get to the process of getting good quality neural data using your Allego and your SmartBox Pro. Thank you very much.